Good evening, everyone. And Drew said the sound system was going to be a little quiet tonight, so I want to take an opportunity and welcome everyone here to our Boards and Commissions Appreciation and Volunteer Banquet. Okay, I hear some music. I'm like, well, I'm going to take an opportunity first off to say thank you everyone for being here. We really, really do appreciate it. You know, this is the one time of the year that we have an opportunity just to take a few minutes and just say thank you very, very much for all the hard work and the effort that each and every one of you put forth. You know, this job is hard. When we have our boards and commissions, the council relies on you every single day. You are the eyes and ears of the community. You provide great feedback, and you represent us very, very well. A couple of years ago, we went back and changed the process in which we appointed each of you. And we now have an opportunity to go in and meet every single one of you. I know it takes a lot of time and effort, and you're like, oh, I hate to go in there and have to re-interview for my job. It's not. It's an opportunity for us, if we haven't had a chance just to sit down and visit with you for a little bit. It's just an opportunity to say thanks for all the hard work and effort. And for some of you, we've actually gotten better jobs out of it because you're very specific in one area, or very, you know, you have a very specific role that you play, and in some cases we may feel that it would be a better fit in a different area. And so to all those serving, we want to say thank you very, very much. And to your spouses that support you, going to all the meetings, attending all the events, we need to give them a big round of applause and say thank you for all that as well. I want you to know that your service does not go unnoticed. The volunteers in our community last year gave over $500,000 of their time. Think about that. It is just a tremendous, tremendous gift that you give back to the city. Linda's going to talk a little bit more about that later, but I wanted just you to think about that for just a few minutes as we have our dinner this evening.
Good evening. Welcome to our banquet. We absolutely love this time of year when we get an opportunity to say thank you for all that you do for us in this community every day throughout the year. It takes all of us to make Rowlett the great community that it is. And I am always delighted to be able to brag about the wonderful community that we have, the number of volunteers that we have, because y'all are really what makes us unique. And when I get an opportunity to brag about the volunteers to my peer group, they're always so impressed with the amount of hours and dedication that y'all give. So we are honored to be with you tonight to recognize what you do for us. Well, as I indicated earlier, tonight we are happy to acknowledge the volunteers who have so graciously given of their time and talents to make the city a better place for all of us. Each year, our banquet continues to grow in numbers, and that's just wonderful. I'd like for it to get so big that we struggle with where we're going to host it. With the wonderful assistance of groups like CERT and Keep Rowlett Beautiful, Races, and VIPS, we offer our sincerest thanks and want you to know that we find your efforts valuable. Every time I talk about volunteerism, I always talk about the power of one, because each one of you volunteer and you do great things, but the collective sum of all of the ones do amazing things. And this year really is no different. Our 11 boards and commissions and the volunteers who lend a helping hand at the city are just as great. And we have some pretty amazing numbers to share with you. Boards and commissions, those 11 groups, from October of 2011 through September of 2012, which is our fiscal year, donated 41,260 hours. You should give yourselves a huge round of applause. In addition to that, we had a number of volunteers We have some volunteers here who come to work and don't get paid. They have job titles, and they're very conscientious and let us know when they're not coming to work. We love that. We have volunteers that occasionally will find things that they would like to improve. So they call and volunteer to fix the problem they don't like. We love that too. We love problems that come forward as solutions. That's always positive. And sometimes we just appreciate those that just have a couple of hours or have a passion for something and want to volunteer. And all of those make a real difference. And it's those volunteers, those that aren't appointed to the boards and commissions, who, as the mayor commented earlier, logged an amazing 26,627 hours, which saved you as taxpayers $583,000. And just so that you can appreciate the scope of what that means, that's the equivalent of 13 full-time people we don't pay for. So how's that for helping your bottom line tax dollars? We appreciate that. Now at this time, I want to acknowledge the volunteers who have averaged 200 or more hours. And if you are here, I'm going to ask you to stand and hold your applause to the end, because you'll want to acknowledge these people. Jennifer Carnell donated 729 hours. Lee Shaw donated 673 hours. Sharon Porter donated 584 hours. Mike Barreras, 468 hours. Richard Alford, 407 hours. His wife Evelyn, 326 hours. Karen Franklin, who has a job title with us, HR Generalist, she donated 392 hours. Linda Fugit, did I get that right? Fugit, 338 hours. Suzanne Chisholm, 312. Benny Stovall, 310. Barbara Grizel, 294. Elizabeth Durbin, 292. Brenda Gardner, who was our volunteer coordinator at the library, donated 291 hours. Dwayne Gates, 246 hours. Rosemary Raro, 201 hours. And Rick Dushin, 200. Let's give these fine folks a wonderful round of applause. Thank you. In addition, tonight, we want to recognize the 5 nominations that were provided for Volunteer of the Year. I'm going to ask them to stand and ask you to hold your applause until the end. The first was Michael Barreras. The second, Karen Franklin. The third, Linda Fugit. Fourth was Brenda Gardner. And fifth was Lee Shaw. Let's congratulate all of them for being nominated. You may be seated. As I have said, we are just so blessed to have so many citizens giving their time and energy to serve our community. In recent years, we've had so many who have dedicated so many hours that we felt the need tonight to expand the scope of our volunteer recognition, because truly, we just couldn't do it without you. Tonight, just to give you a little frame of reference, at last year's banquet, our guest list included volunteers who averaged 75 hours. So to this end, this year we added some new categories to our awards. We're going to give the Volunteer of the Year. We've added the Platinum Volunteer and the Diamond Volunteer Award. The Volunteer of the Year selection process is always a tough determination, and I will tell you, I am grateful that I don't sit on that committee. I'm grateful I don't have a thing to do with it, because it is so tough to have to choose between the many great things that all of our nominees do. The Platinum Volunteer Award was created to recognize that volunteer who is the runner-up in the process. Then you have an issue of someone who's dedicated the most hours of any volunteer, and that's worthy of an award as well. So the Diamond Award was created to recognize that volunteer. So while we wish we could provide awards to all of our volunteers, I will speak on behalf of the City Council and the city staff in stating that we truly are the real winners to have so many of you serving in so many different capacities throughout our great city. It's because of residents like you who are truly engaged that Rowlett is on the move. Thank you. So, without any further ado, let's talk about the Volunteer of the Year. Now, I will tell all of you this. If your name is called, please come to the front so that I can give you an award. Sometimes they stand and don't come, so if you hear your name called, please head to the front. The purpose of the Volunteer of the Year Award is to recognize outstanding individual contributions to the City of Rowlett and its programs, services, and events. We proudly present the award for Volunteer of the Year to a person of integrity, compassion, and spirit. The efforts this person continuously puts forth exhibits remarkable leadership and involvement. In order to accomplish all of the work necessary for this essential volunteer position, this person frequently spends many more hours than are actually logged, meaning that they spend more time than they get credit for. This person has been instrumental in expanding volunteer opportunities that both save the city money and put a positive footprint on the value of volunteerism. This particular person took a program that was suffering and reinvigorated it, energized it, and had to manage some very difficult challenges in order to do so. The truth of the matter is he logs in a lot of hours that don't count because he's available 24/7. And one of our command staff of our police department will say it doesn't matter when the call goes out, when a need arises, this person is available, truly 24/7. This individual is a husband, a father, and is employed full-time where he puts in 40 hours a week while commuting daily to Fort Worth. Still finds time to support his community as a fantastic volunteer. This volunteer also serves on the Rowlett Citizen Corps Council Board of Directors and is an active member at the Crossroads Church in Rowlett. It is always an honor to recognize distinguished members of our many volunteer service programs, and tonight please join me in the celebration of our VIPS coordinator and our 2012 Volunteer of the Year, Michael Barreras. Now that I can tell you, Lieutenant Marvin Gibbs is the one that nominated Michael, and truly, Marvin says if there is a school crossing guard that's going to be sick and he gets the word at 4 o'clock in the morning, he sends out an email, and 4:01 Michael is emailing back, we got it under control, we're taking care of it. Platinum Volunteer Award was created to recognize that winner that is the runner-up in the process. And I must tell you that runner-up is probably not the correct statement. For us, it's a way to acknowledge a second award, because the truth of the matter is we have the opportunity to take all 5 that were nominated and give them an award, which is why I said to you, I'm so grateful I'm not on the selection committee to have to do that. But I'm delighted this year that our Platinum Volunteer Award, the first time out, goes to a person who has been described as being a character. That's an understatement. She has a big, loving heart. This person not only comes to work with a warm smile and a super positive attitude, but also has a magnetic personality and connects with people young and old. This person's dedication and commitment to service in our community is outstanding. This person steps up to offer assistance in what might well be considered a full-time job. For almost a year, in addition to performing regular volunteer duties, this person faithfully stepped in to coordinate the volunteer program for the library by following up with each new volunteer applicant, getting to know them, their interests, finding their right fit, getting them going, and talking up the library at every opportunity to encourage their continued service and support. Infectious is how you would describe this individual's enthusiasm for the library. And if you don't believe it, stand still about 30 seconds and she'll convince you the library is a great place to be. In fact, she refers to the library as her happy place. Aside from being an audiobook fanatic and a voracious reader, she shares ideas for programs, cares deeply about staff, and just can't stop herself from giving accolades to our youth volunteers, who she calls her dream team. This individual is a wife, mother, and grandmother. She works in the hospitality industry for many years, as well as performed the duties of executive support for a major airline. In her spare time, she loves to read, but of course, and participates in not 1, but 2 book clubs. Even outside the library, this volunteer has a reputation for helping anyone in her neighborhood in any way she can. Please join me in presenting the Platinum Volunteer Award to Brenda Gardner, as she makes a real difference in the life of our community, and her generosity and genuine devotion makes her an outstanding volunteer and a rare find indeed. And our Diamond Award, it goes to the volunteer who had the most hours. Our first Diamond Award recipient has been described as one who is hardworking, always pleasant, and works with little supervision. This person has a can-do attitude, never complains, and truly makes a difference. This person radiates strength and perseverance, has a contagious positive attitude, and is dedicated to completing the task set before them. In this person's spare time, she likes to do projects around her house and keeps involved with her family. Not only did she volunteer over 729 hours with the city, but she volunteers at her church in the city as well. And I will tell you that the ladies that she volunteers with comes to count on her every day in helping make sure that their division works well. This person is an Army veteran who served in Desert Storm, a graduate from Texas Tech University with a major in engineering, and is the recipient of our 2011 Volunteer of the Year Award. Please join me in presenting the Diamond Award for 2012 to Jennifer Carnell.
Well, Linda, I can certainly tell there are some very tough choices, and that's one of the challenges with this next award. You know, as we go through the process of trying to choose, typically has been the mayor's responsibility to pick one person. Do you know how hard that is, guys? I love every one of you, and it's so difficult as you go through the list of names, and you go, and anyone that knows me, I don't want to upset that person. I don't want to upset that person, and Linda will tell you, and it's very, very difficult, but we have to choose one individual. And this is one person that is truly, in my eyes, really outstanding and goes the extra mile. You know, the challenge with all of this, again, goes back to choosing someone that provides excellence in service. Well, all of you provide excellence in service. So now we get down to really like splitting hairs. And as we go through this process, we come up with names. And I've gone to council members and I've said, what do you think? Help me out with some names, because I always try to do a group decision in this, because it's not just about me, it's really about us as a team. And one of the challenges, we had a very hard time coming up with names, because there are so many people on the list. And as I put a lot of thought and prayer into this year, I thought the word exemplify, I kept praying about it and said, exemplify, exemplify. Is there one individual that I really believe exemplifies that? And this year's recipient, I'm proud to say that I know this person very well. This year's recipient, like past recipients, has not only contributed in the past, but still contributes today. This year's recipient is a senior, is involved in library activities, and has served on a lot of different committees. This year's recipient will go and visit residents at nursing homes in Rowlett. Or at the nursing home in Rowlett. And let me be more specific. Her level of service is truly about our community. I want to give you some examples of some of the other committees and organizations, but things like the bond committee participated in the Realize Rowlett 2020 process, and was there every meeting, not just because you had to be, but because you really wanted to be. And there were many that were optional, we're always there. Attends many, many of the senior events. I hear about them all the time, and I hear about it from the seniors, because they're always on me and going, why can't you go? And I said, because I have to work. And I said, we do the best we can, but I always hear about this individual's always there. Has participated in the Charter Review Committee. Assisted in the hiring of our city secretary, teaches GED classes at the library, teaches computer classes to our seniors, and serves as a liaison on council for the Senior Advisory Board, participates in the TIF Board, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, the Finance and Audit Committee, and is a council liaison to the Charter Review Committee, and also serves her city on the City Council. She continues to impress me throughout the time on council by her willingness to volunteer. I'm gonna have a hard time getting through this. Throughout our community. She is one of those that stays active and attends literally almost every event. Every time I turn around, Donna was there. And it's hard because we work, and I will tell you it is so difficult because I try to get to as many places as you can possibly go, and it's difficult because we all hold full-time jobs, and so you the volunteer as well, and you know how hard it is for being in Fort Worth, and how do you get back to Rowlett? It's very, very difficult. And Donna always shows up because she always talks about, I care, and she's always there to represent the City Council. On any given week, I would estimate her volunteer hours anywhere between 30 to 40 hours a week. I'm probably being very generous in terms of being light on that number. And her husband also serves as a VIPS in our VIPS organization. She also helped one of the GED students by allowing him to live with them while he completed his GED, and also without helping to find a job. And this Monday, she joined me at the DART station and beat me there by showing up at 4:15 in the morning. Do you hear that? 4:15 in the morning. That includes you got to get dressed and you got to look nice to get there. 4:15 in the morning. And so with that, it gives me great pleasure and such a great honor to introduce this year's recipient of the 2012 Richard Huff Excellence in Service Award to my friend and coworker, Donna Davis. if you see me roaming around taking photos, it's for Facebook. I get chastised when I go somewhere and they say, did you post it on Facebook? So I've been trying to capture some pictures, and you surprisingly get a lot of people that read that stuff, and they'll call and they comment and go, I didn't know that was going on. Thanks so much for posting. With that concludes our evening. I want to thank you very, very much for your service, and really hope that you have a wonderful and most joyous holiday season. God bless you guys. Good night.